Hey, so we took to Tumblr to ask you for your best advice re job interviews, and this is what you said. Before the interview, Nakoikoi says, if you're going around applying to different places in person, be dressed nicely enough to do the interview right then and there, because that could happen. Super Hopeful Puff answered, look over your resume and a list of major accomplishments and projects right before the interview, that way it's fresh in your mind. Speaking of resumes, if you're looking to streamline yours, you could check out last week's video from Mike that happens to conveniently be on that topic. Totally a Computer suggests prepping answers to common questions. For instance, the classic, what's your biggest weakness? Instead of saying something like, well, I guess I'm just a perfectionist. Instead, say something like, I'd like to improve on my give example, and I'm going to do so by give example. In other words, acknowledge the negative in the framework of a positive. Practice these a lot. Doted Destroyer also recommends, if you're doing a phone interview, to write down some answers like these beforehand to boost your confidence. Living Life in the Probability Lane said, for questions about a time when you use the S.T.A.R method, situation, your task, the action you took, and the results. For example, situation, Moriarty is trying to kill me. Task, fake my own death. Action I took, well, I'll never reveal it definitively, but let's just say it was rather elaborate and effective. Results, I'm back and better than ever. Yeah. You can also prep your own questions. For instance, you can ask about what your daily duties would be. You could ask the interviewer what they like, especially about working for that company. It's also perfectly reasonable to ask when they expect to make a decision about the position. Let's talk about clothes. Now, this is all about convincing the company that you're professional and that you're a great fit for the team. It's important to check out the company's attire prior to showing up for the interview. For instance, by contacting the company's receptionist or human resources department and finding out what their day-to-day dress code is. From there, Forbes magazine recommends you take it a half step up. If you're unsure of what to wear, you can always go with a jacket. If you feel overdressed, you can always take it off. Cherry Scary answered, for phone interviews, dress up and smile while on the phone. You'll get a confidence boost and you can hear a smile over the call. Another blog about random stuff said, before any job interview, I always take 5 minutes and make some power stances / poses to boost my confidence. Before you go in, make sure you turn off your phone. You don't want to be getting any texty texts or snappy chats while you're in the middle of your interview. Be early, but not too early, not more than 15 minutes. Be sure to smile when the interviewer goes to greet you. Good posture and a solid handshake are key. Ninja Frog of points out that it's okay to be a little nervous. It's not a surprise to the interviewer, so just do your best to relax and don't stress too much over little mistakes. Tumblr user Shaler, who is a hiring manager, says, if you don't know something, admit it with grace and humor. The real purpose of the interview questions is not so much whether they get the answer right, but how they handle the situation. Do they flail and make a wild guess immediately, or do they pause and think before they answer? Similarly, Nerd in a Tiara answered, never be afraid to pause and say, let me think about that. It shows that you're engaged and that you want to answer well. And Bod Tumblesnow suggests that you, quote, stay on topic. I put my friend up for an interview and she lost her mind and talked about D&D and Ren Fair and everything but the job, end quote. When the interview is wrapping up, ask any questions that you prepped and be sure to say that you're excited about the possibility of working there. Get business cards from the interviewer if possible. It'll make it easier to send a thank you card or email afterward, which you should make sure to do within 24 hours of the interview. B Reads Books suggests that you also use the note to, quote, reiterate your interest and touch on topics that you discussed. In addition to the thank you, follow up later on. Did you ask them how long it might take for them to make a decision? If so, wait that amount of time, and if you haven't heard anything, feel free to contact them via call or email. If you didn't get the job, ask how you can improve in the future. You never know if another position will open up there. And if you don't get the job, that is very disappointing, but it's not because you're not awesome sauce, because you are the awesomest of sauces. We all have to acknowledge that the job sea is pretty choppy right now, but there will be other fish in it. So just keep swimming. Keep on swimming. When I was in high school, this was my first job. It was at a movie theater, and I got to the movie theater and I was like, I'm here for an interview. And the guy said, oh, they're over there. And so I saw a group of young people sitting around a table. So I went to the table and there was no chair. So I got a chair and I set it up next to someone at the table and I was like, hey guys, how's it going? Not knowing that one of the young people was the manager and that was the interview for the group of people that came before me, which I effectively crashed.
I guess I was 16. I went in to do an interview with this store that was called Babbage's at the time. I guess it's GameStop now. The lady asked, what would you do if a parent came in and was like, I want to buy such and such game for my son, "Is that a good game? I really want to buy it. What do you say to them?" And I was like, I would tell them that there are better games in that type of game we have, and here's one of them. Like, did I blow the interview by saying that?
I would say, like, why would you not sell them the game they wanted? That's my main question for you.
That's things, Emma.
I'm just wondering